Okay, you destroyed different places. All right, you plundered people for resources like Venezuela. Okay, they're trying to go in and take resources from Venezuela, which they done all over the earth. We know it's always about resources. Okay, so it says and there's so many directions we can go with it, making the word as a wilderness. It says, and destroy the cities thereof, that open not the house of his prisoners. See? So it's speaking to these topics and vendors, man. Right? They're the ones, okay, that the Lord's going to take out of power when he returns. When he returns. Okay? So when we go back, it says Egypt, he says he's going to smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. See? Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. See? And it speaks about the same thing in Isaiah 19, where the Lord is riding from a swift cloud, all right, entering into Egypt, something like that, okay? And it goes down to verse 4, I believe, mentions the cruel Lord, which is, DJ Nero, all right? One of those key snippets says the Egyptians, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? Because that goes in line with what we're talking about right now, okay? These, in other words, so you understand it, the American people against the American people, because everything's divided, all right? Whether it be political issues, racial issues, class issues, all right, or even issues like issues that happen across seas, people will be wrapped up in it here in the shores of America, because you have some of those nationality of people that actually live here in the States, and so those are their people back home, and so whatever their like for example, like the Palestine situation, okay, Gaza Strip and all that, those are their people over there, but you also have some of their people that live over here, and so those differences spill over to these shores, okay? So you have a lot of different divisions and divides, all right, that are happening here in America. And the Lord says, I'm going to set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. There's going to be a chaotic time period. Like they showed you in the second one, I always forget the name of it. Civil War, where the man had the gun. He was like, well, what kind of American are you? Because there's all different kinds of people here that could be considered Americans, all right? Because this is the country that they live in. But when you go into their nationality, these are different nationalities of people. You see? So the Lord's going to bring that chaos, all right? And he's going to bring plagues, famine, all right, cannibalism, all these different things of that nature, okay? Verse 13 says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with the fearful constellation, okay? And when you think about, real quick, mention like the farmlands, all right? Since ICE has been, persecuting that northern kingdom, all right, a lot of these farmlands haven't been getting worked on, and so these farmers are hurting, because they're trying to buy out the farmers anyways. So that's like a chain reaction there, okay? And then you have other stores that their business is slowing down because of the same situation, okay? And then also just because the economy in general, so that's slowing down because this is a controlled demolition, a destruction of this current society, this current economy, so they can bring forward their new one, okay? Which is the digital system, where everybody's microchip, offering you a UBI, governed you by a social credit score system and the Palantir, which is, mass surveillance and things of that nature. This is the reality of what's coming, all right, to not just Babylon the Great, but to the whole world. But we always speak about Babylon because this is the main place of prophecy, man. The main place of destruction and deliverance, okay? So these things are coming into fruition, and our people are not paying attention, no matter how many times we give them the word of it, okay? But we have to prophesy. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. See? That's what we just talked about. Let me get that Isaiah 19. So I mentioned it. Okay? One people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. Okay? So when you go to 19 of the book of Isaiah, okay, verse 2, it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Speaking about the Americans, man. Okay? And they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor. It says city against city and kingdom against kingdom, because you have all these differences, okay? The long list of things that we mentioned, and probably even more that we didn't think of. You have all these differences, okay? And then you put it on top of it, and that's driving the people, to that chaotic point, and that's what the elites want. So I would say the Egyptians against the Egyptians. They shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor. city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over to the hand of their cruel Lord. Their cruel Lord is here, man. He doesn't give a damn about nothing, man. But because he has an agenda. And a first, which is not of his own, right? It's given to him. And a fierce king shall rule over them, said the Lord, Yahweh, the Lord of hosts. See? So there you go. So if we go back over here and pick it back up, it says the same thing. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. You see? So reading on, it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Sedition among men. Okay? I know it's the third time we mentioned it, but Bane, when he gave that speech in the Batman movie, okay, that was sedition, right? When he's giving some kind of, speech, all right, heavy speech that rouses up the spirits of the people to get them to want to go into, riot mode, all right? Past protest, but riot mode, all right? We're going to put things in action mode, okay? We're just going to speak about that. The Lord's going to, the 2/3 are going to get run over, but he is going to allow them to, be loosed at some point. It says that in Genesis 49, all right, where it says, speak about Judah, who shall rouse them up, okay? The Lord's going to rouse them up. He's going to allow the 2/3 to let loose on Esau, but ultimately it's prophetic for Esau to overcome them, okay? Because that's not how the kingdom is going to be won, okay? It does say in Daniel that the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, but that's through the avenue of our Lord and Savior, okay? So yeah, they eventually get to the point where Revelation 21 come down and chariot and so on and so forth. It's not going to be through carnal action, right? To say the least, right? So, for there shall be sedition among men, okay, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not going to care about what the local police are saying, the governor is saying, okay? They're not going to, the police commissioner, the governor, all right, the head of the state, not going to care about what orders are flowing from Washington, D.C. Who cares what the president says? Look at our life. We're upset, and we're tired of you not fixing our problems, and we're about to get what we got to get because we got to survive. The Lord's going to allow that spirit to thrive in the earth, man, okay, to bring all things into fruition, man. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, okay, which that's on a smaller level that's happening right now with these flights, man. All right, all these flights that are being jacked up, okay? Because as I mentioned, people like to travel, right? They want to go from here to there around the so-called holiday time, and a lot of it is usually from flights. Some of it is from travel, with your vehicle, okay? But flights is an important thing to these people because you may have family that lives, 3-4 states away, all right? Too far to drive. Or who maybe they live on the whole entire other side of the country. It's too far to drive. So they're going to fly there, you see? It may take a 24-hour period or whatever the case may be, give or take, all right? But they can't fly there now, all right? And so that's causing us an uproar, all right? So there's so many things that the Lord is, throwing in there in the mix, all right? And we see the time is almost, about to spill over, man, into Jacob's trouble. So, we have to prophesy until we can't prophesy anymore. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Because they're going to come a point where, especially when you speak about from the avenue of hunger, right? People are going to be so hungry, they're going to go, all right? That neighbor that you were so cool with, you're going to go over there and see what they got. And what they give you, you might go home, okay? But then, because you're going to have these people, they're going to go home, they're going to keep thinking, like, oh, man, my baby got to eat, or I got to eat, whatever the case may be. They're going back to the neighbor's house. This time, it's not going to ask the neighbor, all right? It's to take from the neighbor, okay? It's to go down the street and take. You see how they did with the talking about the SNAP benefits, all right? And they went crazy over some SNAP benefits, all right? So imagine when everything is permanently cut off, okay? When people can't get their drugs, they can't get their liquor, all right, their beers, okay? When they can't get when they ain't got no food, okay? Imagine how these people are going to act in, all right? The Lord's going to allow these spirits, these wicked spirits to wild out so he can delete them, because that's what they were set up for anyway, you see? Because they don't care about him. They don't respect him. They don't respect his name. They're not seeking after him. They're seeking after what they want, you see? So the Lord's going to allow them to get caught out there in their confusion, so just so they can be deleted, man, because they don't believe in the truth, you see? And they're going to end up dying right here in America, man, see? Probably gonna end up on somebody's grill, right? Getting cooked up. Okay, rib of person, rib of man. Okay, and you know the people gonna taste good because Jake like to eat all these abominable foods, especially pork, right? So your ass salty as hell. Somebody gonna have a good time eating you. All right, putting you on their grill. Okay, because starvation is coming, cannibalism is coming, man. But these are the prophecies of the Lord, man, whether you believe them or not. You see? A man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. See, no pity upon his neighbor. He ain't gonna care. He's got to eat. He's got to survive. Got to feed my family, my baby, my wife, whatever. All right. No pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. Because spoil means to take their goods. See, what goods you think that's gonna be? You think they're gonna go in there for a PlayStation? All right, so they can take it home and look for a PlayStation subscription? No, man. They're coming to take your canned goods or whatever other food you got. All right. And hell, it might even be a power outage. So they ain't gonna want everything because eventually whatever's in people's refrigerators is gonna go bad anyways. So they're gonna want the things you got in the cans, man, that you stored up in the pantry. They're gonna take the most important things. You see? It says because of the lack of bread, you see, there you go. Lack of bread. What's the word bread in the Hebrew? Lacham. Bread, lacham, right? Your sustenance, okay? For the lack of bread and for a great tribulation. So they're gonna be hungry. All right, and all kinds of shit is going to be happening all over the earth. What does it say in Lamentation? Was it 4? All right, it's better to die by the sword than by famine, because these find a way, strictly through for the ones in the field. I think the verse above that mentions their bodies being like a stick, because when you're all emaciated and you're hungry, you haven't eaten, that's what happens. Oh, your body fat withers away, because your body is an intelligent organism. It knows when it's hungry. It sends a signal from the brain to the stomach, and you growl, right? You're hungry, okay? But when you ain't got enough food, what happens? You just keep getting more and more hungry. Then eventually your body starts to eat away at stored energy and fat and stuff like that before it starts to eat away at itself. You see? Let me get that Lamentations now that I mentioned. It mentions like being like a stick, right? Jeremiah, here we go. Oh, I passed it. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 8. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. You see? It says it is withered. It is become like a stick. That's mass starvation, man. Not eating for a long period of time. I don't mean because you didn't eat for 24 hours or 2 days. No, for a good period. And that's part of what Esau's going to try to utilize against people to get them to take the microchip. I'll feed you. Just take my chip. Okay? You get a UBI, Universal Basic Income. Okay? And the Social Security score system will help you out. All these things are going to offer to you like they're good and help you. But the scriptures tell you never trust thy enemy for his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Okay? He doesn't have you, all right, in mind to help you out. He has you in mind to use you as his cattle, man. A human resource forever. See? Like they try to show you already got this job shortage, job loss, people being fired, AI taking people's jobs, right? Because this is all gearing people up for what Esau is looking for. That new age, that new world agenda, man. Which is all going to be through the digital system, mass surveillance, microchip, individual banks, and all these different things. Okay? Allowing him to how can I say it? Allow him to fulfill his fantasy of actually being God, all right? Which you'll never get, okay? His idea of being God is on a carnal level, man. So it says, their skin cleaveth to their bones, it is withered, it has become like a stick. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these find a way stricken through for the wants of the fruits of the field. And this is what is coming to America, man. It is not going to get better because the prophecy of the book do not say that. It says we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Okay, take balm for her pain. She is not healed. Because the ultimate end game for the Lord is to destroy this place by nuclear missiles in World War III. All right? And before that happens, there's going to be a chaotic time period that's going to transpire right here on these shores and all over the earth, man. Okay? Check this one out. It says the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. Sodden means to boil. They're going to cook their children. They're going to eat them because of what? Because of the lack of bread. All right? Lacham, sustenance, food. You see? Hunger. That's why it says their skin cleaved to the bone like a stick, right? Their hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat. See? Their food, their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. See? So this is what's coming back. This is what the Lord is bringing to this earth, man. And all these things are beautiful because that's what we look for, all right? That's what we hope for because these things usher in the